Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Robbins, and welcome to Life, Death, and the Space Between podcast. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and medium, and here we explore life, death, consciousness, and what it all means. I'm back today with Christy Whitman. Christy is a transformational leader, celebrity coach, and New York Times best-selling author of Having It All. Last week on the show, we discussed her quantum success theory, and today she's back to channel for us the council, which I'm super excited about today. I was not aware that this was one of the things that she did. So when we started talking, she said, "Do you want me to channel the council?" And I was like, absolutely. So Christy, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me back, Dr. Amy.
And tell us a little bit about what you're going to do and what the council is, and then we'll kind of jump into that.
Okay, so the council is a collective consciousness, beings of light, if you will. So they are on a higher plane of reality. They are non-physical beings, and I've been channeling in some form for the past 20 years. All my books have been channeled in the sense that they come through me, and that I get like automatic writing, and my hand becomes, not my own. And then for many years, my hands, when I was working with a client, would go up, and I would start doing healing work with them, and I would hear a very clear voice telling me where to go, what to do. So I was being guided by something that felt outside of myself, but it was always spot on for the person. And then in September 2018, all of a sudden I was working with a group of women with my Sacred Circle of Light online. And the last woman that went for the day to get her energy cleared, all of a sudden it was like 9 people were talking to me, and my consciousness went out and theirs came in, and it's been like that ever since. So they're pretty spectacular and amazing, and I feel very blessed that I get to bring forth their information.
So this is a new skill.
Yeah, it's definitely been developing for the last 20 years, but it's been having different levels and layers of it. And so it's something that has definitely, been about 1.5 years now that it's been full on, and it keeps growing and developing, and it's really, really amazing.
So you're going to channel them, and I'm just going to ask kind of whatever questions.
Whatever you want to ask, whatever comes up.
Okay.
Let me go get them.
All right.
We are here. Hello, dear one. We are happy to sit with you.
Thank you for being here.
You have questions for counsel.
How do you understand what is happening in our world today?
Well, there are many levels and layers of what is happening. There has been a lot of fear, a lot of individuals focused on what they don't want and the fear in their lives. And this has been a collective manifestation. So you see, this is a universal experience that every single person on the planet is experiencing. And yet each and every one of you are having your own unique experience. This is the microcosm of the macrocosm. You have universal laws that exist for every single human being that is alive and on the planet. And with that, every single human being with your own free will gets to determine what your life experience will be like. So now what is happening as you are talking about what your world has termed the pandemic, it is really a time for a amplification of what each person is needing to shed, what is needing to awaken. You will have many that are, it's like a chick coming out of the egg, that are ready to crack open and have a new awareness of energy, of light, of that they can control or process their own emotions, that they can choose their thoughts, that they in fact can create their own reality no matter what the circumstances or situations or events are. And you will have others that will still remain asleep. This is awakening time, but your collective consciousness has been creating this, not ones like yourself, but the masses. And it is the masses that are really needing to wake up to wake up and understand that suffering and separation and lack is not your divine birthright. All of you have a divine design to be in well-being. You see, there are those of you like yourself, Dr. Amy, and like Christy, where you know you're in well-being and you do the things to be protective of yourselves. You wash your hands, you lock your doors at night, but you live your life as if all is well. And you do know, as Christy does, that if she did get the virus, she would be fine because her body is in well-being and knows how to fight it off. So there is no fear that has to happen. There is a resolution, a dissolving of any type of fear about it. And that is why both you and her are able to live your lives, especially now, thriving instead of freaking out like most people. You are divinely designed to have health and well-being. You think about your bodies and how if you scrape your knee, it scabs over. Your bodies know what it needs to do to release a virus that has become part of itself. Your divine design is to live in abundance, and that is why it feels so bad to not be in abundance when you are in lack or your mind is suffering in separation. You are divinely designed to have a unique and co-creative experience with the unique divine and consciousness that is breathing you, that is beating your heart, and to have that creative self-expression leading, of course, to success. Success, however, the individual puts it in the slide projector of his or her own life. And you are divine designed to love one another, to support one another, to truly live life in all relationships from a place of love and support, to allow each other to be who you are and to accept each other for those differences. This is where your planet and the people on it are now shifting to. And this is really good news.
So how can I, as an individual, ensure, because it feels like a big responsibility to me personally, to help people shift their consciousness? Because this feels like, to me, this feels like this has been coming for a long time.
Indeed.
So what is my job in helping to continue to shift that for people? And how do we as a society not go back to this sense of kind of greed and lack and fear?
Well, dear one, you are doing your part, and all of you that we consider to be light workers, when you say shifting consciousness, you can only do what you can do. Each individual will have to choose for themselves if they are going to shift or not. You yourself or Christy or anybody else that does the type of work that you do cannot shift for somebody else. You can provide the light, you can provide the information, you can provide the services that will take them from point A to point B, but with everybody's own free will, they are each individually responsible for their own consciousness. You have all been given the power of free will. And so you can never create in somebody else's consciousness. You can never think for another human or feel for another human, and you cannot shift their consciousness to be. If that was the case, it would be a assertion-based universe, and we would shake everybody to come into the heavenly experience of what life could be like. All you can do is offer, do your service as you are doing to those clients that come to you, that listen to your podcast, that are available and in your realm, that are attracted to you and your work, and give them what they are needing and allow them to take the responsibility to shift in their own lives.
So how do we prevent a backslide here?
By focusing on all of you that focus on what you do want. So instead of fighting against this happening or the backslide, focus on what is coming. Focus on what is being birthed right now. Focus on the good. Focus on what you envision all of this happening. With those of you that are conscious and becoming more so every day, because it is never ending, it is not like you are at the finish line. You're all continuing to evolve. If you have enough of your collective consciousness that is in light, holding a vision of what is to be like what is to be in divine design, as the angelic realms hold all of you in, you are all so much more powerful than all those that are in lack, because the vibration is so much higher of those of you that are focused on what you do want and really what you do want to see this reality of life to be for you.
Okay, so it's holding the vibration of light.
It is.
In hope that will counter the darkness.
It will. The light always does. If you walk into a dark room and you turn on the light, there is no more darkness.
So what do you see as sort of the future of humanity at this point?
It is all good. You will have a universal experience where you will have many that are waking up. It's a spectrum. You see, like everything in your universe, there's no black or white. It is a spectrum of experiences. So you will see those that are deeply in fear and freaking out and are going to have their own unique experiences that will awaken them or keep them stuck. You will have those that are needing to wake up that will shift, and they'll be in so much pain that they have to think a different way. They have to shift their perspective, and they will. And from that, they will start to open and awaken. And then you will have others on the other side that will continue to live an even better life. It is like in your human experience. Let us put it in this way. You have children that when you put them in school, they go to a preschool, and then they go to kindergarten, first grade, and they graduate. And as they go up, they learn more. They expand in their wisdom. The math skills get harder, and they get into geometry and calculus and algebra, and they go through high school. And you have some that stop at high school, and then you have some that continue to go to college, and then they get their college degree, and some stop there. And then you have others that go and get master's degree, and then you have some that get doctorate degrees and PhDs and beyond and beyond. It is a spectrum. It is like this for light. It is like this for consciousness. It is, you have some that haven't even joined preschool yet. And yet you have others that have doctorate degrees and PhDs and beyond. And most of your mass consciousness, they're still at grade school, dear.
And what is the realm that you are currently in?
We are energy. We live on a higher realm of energy. When you think about yourselves in everything in your universe as energy, your physical plane, the earth plane, is the most dense of energy. And it has to be because your physical bodies are matter more than they are anything. Really, you have a lot of energy running through you, but you are matter. So there is a denser form of energy. You live on a third dimensional reality. We live in a spectrum that goes all the way to 12 dimensions. And we hang out a lot in the 5th and 6th and the 4th so that we can bring wisdom of divine light into this realm through the one that we speak through, and that is Christy. But we are in all, like your divine selves, your life force that is breathing you. You have breath, and the divine has individualized its consciousness into you. And it has chosen each one of you that are alive at this time to co-create with and to come through. It has levels and layers of itself that has moved into your body, and also has energy at the lowest level of this earth plane so that it could be breathing you. But your divine self lives on many, many other higher dimensions of light, us too.
So you lower your vibration to meet Christy's vibration.
If she
raises hers, you lower yours.
Yes, if we did not, she would be short-circuited. She could not handle, and even you've met her, she a very high vibrational human being. She has a higher light quotient than most human beings do, or we would not be able to come through her. And yet when we appear, you could feel, yes, the difference in the energy.
Yeah, so when you appeared, I got goosebumps all over, and I also noticed a change in my body temperature.
Yes.
Is that, I don't know, that sometimes happens to me when I do medium work, is I notice a change in my body temperature.
This is energy, and this is us. We have that effect on a lot of people, and so we are at different dimensions, and we sometimes can, depending on who we're working with through Christy, will bring in higher frequencies in energy. But if we cannot take from the highest dimensions that we are at and bring it through a human body, it would not be good for the body.
How does it get determined? Because I would imagine there are many types of light workers like you, counsels. I've worked with other people, or I've had other people on the podcast who channel. How does it get determined sort of who you are going to show up for and what that's going to look like?
It is guides. All of you have a team of guides, angels, your support team on your other side of the veil. And you all, because you're all here, have your divine self, which is the highest realm. It is your life. It is your life partner. And yet the guides and the angels, that the masters that have each individual that they work with, the more open. Christy for years has kept on saying yes. We had images and things channel through her, and she just kept showing up and saying yes. There are many light workers that will allow books to channel through them, but to have us come through them or have versions of their team or guides to come through them, they are not ready for or open, or they're too worried about what other people would think, or they do it in the privacy of their own place, not to be out and open. The one that we speak through has a top courage and does not care. And so we are her guides. We are a collection of her guides and her team and collective consciousness, of course, for all of us, all of you.
So sometimes it starts smaller with just recognizing when that energy is coming through automatic writing or
intuition first, dear one. Many of you follow your intuition and follow it, and you realize, ooh, that turned out well when I listened to my intuition. I'm going to do more of that. And then you follow it more, and you develop a relationship with that. That is the first, it is that intuition. And many hear the intuition and do the opposite. They don't pay attention, and it closes down the intuition.
So it starts with intuition, and then what does it move through?
Well, it is the opening. It really is the opening. And it is that relationship, like with that intuition, it becomes a development of asking and receiving and asking and receiving. And once that channel is open, there's a big difference in, we talk about this in the experience that we teach with Christy called Quantum Energy Mastery, of how you have your divine will and divine self, and then you have your personality will and pain body and all the stuff that you've learned along your physical experience. And in between, there's a buffering between the individual and the divine. It is like a hard energetic strata that is there, and there's like you cannot penetrate through the wall. It is a dissolving of energy that allows you to be in connection and in oneness with your divine self.
And so, for example, for me personally, sometimes I will sit in meditation and I will have like a clarity about what I'm supposed to do next.
Yes.
Does it matter that whether that comes from a guide or an angel or a loved one, it's just a higher it's my higher or my soul? Like, how do I know the difference?
Does it matter, really? I mean, it's again an energetic, you have your physical body, your higher mind, your soul self always connected with you, and you have your divine self that goes up to all the multidimensionality. Your soul is with you from lifetime to lifetime. It is what carries you and individuates you and is another filter, if you will, that comes through you. It is all really one and the same when it comes from a place of feeling good and expanded. It is really all energy. They are a team. It is not like individuals. Individual minds think individuals. So it's soul self, it's divine self, it's this guide, it's that angel. We all work together as one big soup, if you will, one big stew to help you as an individual. And it is all there for your collective consciousness and experience.
So in a lot of ways, it's not unlike we are on Earth, except that we have seen ourselves as individuals. But if we saw ourselves as collective, what we could do would be way more powerful.
Indeed.
And what is, I want to be respectful of your time, but the last question, and I'm not sure that this even makes sense in a higher realm, but my question is what matters most in the end? But I don't know that there is an end. So
well,
I think,
we will answer
right?
the question, because there is an end and yet there isn't an end. It's both and. In your human experience, and your podcast is perfect for this, you have a beginning, you have a life, and then you have your death, and you have all of your experiences in between. But it is the body that has the death. All of you have an expiration date. You know when you come in, and then there is a short period of time. We say short because we are eternal. And so even if you live to be 100 years old and healthy until the day you pass over, what is beyond is love and light. So what really does matter, what is really eternal, is love and light. Is every moment when you can send a person love and show them compassion and caring and kindness, and there's a feeling of expansion and a love exchange that never goes away. It is all about the love. It is all about returning to your divine love and your divine connection. And this experience between your parentheses of being who you are as an individual, never to be anyone like you before, never to be anyone like you after, unique and different in all of the entire universe forevermore. Enjoy it. It is meant to be enjoyed. You're all worrying way too much. Not you, but most.
Right. Any parting words for me personally, as long as I have you here? Because this has been one of the most fascinating things I've ever experienced.
Dear one, we want not only you, but each of your listeners and every person on the planet to know, and we will say it directly to you, and we cannot speak a higher truth than these words. You are infinitely loved and infinitely adored.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to take a moment and share some of my reflections after this podcast, because I've already listened to it 3 times, and generally I don't listen to my podcasts again because it's really difficult for me to hear my own voice speaking, and I'm always a little bit critical of did I say the right thing or how I said things or the questions that I asked. But this podcast for me, this recording felt so profound and hit me in such a deep way. It felt like it penetrated my soul. And after the podcast, after the recording for about 45 minutes or an hour, I just sat in the same place and listened to it again and thought about what was said and listened to it again and thought about what was said. And so I would encourage any of you to have another listen at this if you want to hear the messages, because I do believe the messages were not just for me. It was really the message to our collective consciousness. And also, if you have questions that you would want to ask counsel, send me an email at lifeLDSBquestions at Gmail. And I will see if perhaps Christy would come back on again and channel another session of questions for us. She said that she might be willing to do that. So I would love to have her back on again. And I would love to answer any of your questions you might have about this experience, because it really was very unique. And I feel quite grateful that I had the opportunity to have it. Like what you heard today and want to hear more? Curious about what comes next and what it all means? You can subscribe on iTunes. Just go to podcasts and find Life, Death, and the Space Between and hit subscribe. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dr. Amy Robbins. Ask me any questions you might have, let me know what else you'd love to hear about, or just share your story. I can't wait to hear from you.